The history of American football can be traced to early versions of rugby football and association football.
Nation, going of the sprending rent lu are reach, Jove avoth the Ruth Arier Schiddentinellers. Sport with ein pointis in this footwailingsly und intours arty flaxome, innowings rules that you're early with rugby, I'd the D fulp world rules. Modernization, 1900s to 1930s. The formalization of rules, the formalization are sees unaremols of lin rules nisthar football. The indurative that arithively had led, the willow gave sulea rules with ishe of the Etonthal, and shat with Fran Krelage Powerl are to the least careeringy of college football, mris of college football. Modern era, 1960s to present. This sport will Sevlebek, Goshen is Potips, and at Sumo Picanieli is Forbrand Fort, professionalizonal of e-sport mnin football, Inifil Crompanies and a Riu Commanditi or Trules is Scenes Srailes Reynold and Palyarine. This senster Kerdefetine and Innovi and
Professional era and the NFL. Early professional games date to the 1890s. The first documented paid player was William Pudge Hafelfinger, who received $500 in 1892. The National Football League, NFL, formed in 1920 as the American Professional Football Association, renamed NFL in 1922, in Canton, Ohio, to organize pro teams and prevent bidding wars for players. The league grew slowly, with stars like Red Grange boosting popularity in the 1920s. Television exploded its reach in the 1950s, notably the 1958 NFL Championship, greatest game ever played. In 1960, the rival American Football League, AFL, launched, leading to a merger in 1970 that created the modern NFL with AFC and NFC conferences. The Super Bowl, the AFL-NFL Championship starting in 1967, became a cultural phenomenon. Today, it's one of the most watched events globally, with the Vince Lombardi Trophy awarded to winners. Safety, equipment, and cultural impact. Early football was violent with minimal protection. Players often wore no helmets. Leather helmets appeared in the 1920s, plastic in the 1940s, and face masks in the 1950s. Modern helmets feature advanced padding and technology for safety. American football is now America's most popular sport, with the NFL the world's most valuable league. College football remains hugely influential, feeding talent to the pros and boasting massive rivalries. From rugby-inspired roots to a high-tech spectacle, the sport reflects innovation, strategy, and American culture. American football evolved in the United States from early versions of soccer and rugby played in 19th century Britain. In its earliest days, the game was a rough mix of both sports, with few standardized rules and plenty of chaos. The first intercollegiate game recognized as American football took place on November 6, 1869, between Rutgers and Princeton, then known as the College of New Jersey. The game featured 25 players on each side and rules closer to soccer than to the football we know today. Rutgers won 6-4 in a match that looked more like a wild kicking contest than modern football. During the 1870s, American colleges began shifting toward rugby-style rules, which allowed players to carry the ball. A major turning point came in 1874 when Harvard faced McGill University of Canada under rugby rules. This game helped popularize running with the ball and pushed American football further away from soccer. The transformation into a modern sport accelerated in the 1880s, thanks largely to Walter Camp, a Yale player and coach, often called the father of American football. Camp introduced revolutionary changes that reshaped the game. He reduced team size from 15 players to 11, created the line of scrimmage, replaced the rugby scrum with a snap from center to quarterback, and established the system of downs. First, 5 yards in 3 attempts, later 10 yards in 4. These innovations emphasized strategy, control of possession, and territorial advancement, clearly separating American football from rugby. In 1906, another major change arrived with the legalization of the forward pass. This rule was introduced to open up the game and reduce its extreme physical brutality. Concerns over serious injuries and player deaths even drew the attention of President Theodore Roosevelt, leading to sweeping reforms. Together, these changes shaped American football into the strategic, fast-paced sport recognized today. Both games have their origin in multiple varieties of football played in the United Kingdom in the mid-19th century, in which a football is kicked at a goal or kicked over a line, which in turn were based on the varieties of English public school football games descending from medieval ball games. American football resulted from several major divergences from association football and rugby football. Most notably, the rule changes were instituted by Walter Camp, a Yale University athlete and coach who is considered to be the father of American football. Among these important changes were the introduction of the hike spot, of down and distance rules, and of the legalization of forward pass and blocking. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, gameplay developments by college coaches such as Eddie Cochems, Amos Alonzo Stagg, Park H. Davis, Newt Rockne, and Glenn "Pop" Warner helped take advantage of the newly introduced forward pass. The popularity of college football grew as it became the dominant version of the sport in the United States for the first half of the 20th century. Bowl games, a college football tradition, attracted a national audience for college teams. Boosted by fierce rivalries and colorful traditions, college football still holds widespread appeal in the United States. The origin of professional football can be traced back to 1892 with Pudge Heffelfinger's $500, $17,498 and $2024 contract to play in a game for the Allegheny Athletic Association against the Pittsburgh Athletic Club. In 1920, the American Professional Football Association was formed. This league changed its name to the National Football League 2 years later and eventually became the Major League of American Football. Beginning primarily as a sport of Midwestern industrial towns in the United States, professional football eventually became a national phenomenon. The modern era of American football can be considered to have begun after the 1932 NFL playoff game, which was the first indoor championship game since 1902, and the first American football game to feature hash marks, forward passes anywhere behind the line of scrimmage, and the movement of the goalposts back to the goal line. Other innovations to occur immediately after 1932 were the introduction of the AP poll in 1934, the tapering of the ends of the football in 1934, the awarding of the first Heisman Trophy in 1935, the first NFL Draft in 1936, and the first televised game in 1939. Another important event was the American football game at the 1932 Summer Olympics, which combined with a similar demonstration game at 1933 World's Fair, led to the first college all-star game in 1934, which in turn was an important factor in the growth of professional football in the United States. American football's explosion in popularity during the second half of the 20th century can be traced to the 1958 NFL Championship game, a contest that has been dubbed the greatest game ever played. A rival league to the NFL, the American Football League, AFL, began play in 1960. The pressure it put on the senior league led to a merger between the two leagues and the creation of the Super Bowl, which has become the most watched television event in the United States on an annual basis.